What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we're talking about the RSI Arrastra Q&A. And if you haven't already, guys, make sure you do me a favor that you like and you comment on this video. You like and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to get right into it. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the little advertisement up here because we already gone over that in the regular video when the Arrastra first came out in during IAE. So we're just going to get right into the Q&A without any delays. So how do the Arrastra refining capabilities, how does the Arrastra refining capabilities compare to ships like the Expanse, Orion, and Galaxy? The Arrastra has two reactors that allow it to run separate orders concurrently. These orders are much larger than the 6 found in the Expanse, allowing each order to contain a much higher quantity of goods. While these number of player-controlled refining, while the numbers for player-controlled refining are still being worked out, we don't want to give specifics, but each reactor to be able to refine around the same amount as an Expanse in one go. Compared to the Galaxy refining module, these reactors are about the same capacity. Naturally, compared to the Orions, they are significantly smaller. Okay, there's some grammatical errors in this thing. That's why I was having I'm looking at this, I'm reading it, I'm just like, there's some grammar errors in here. Okay, so it's like having two experiences in one go, essentially. So if we go over here to our fleet view, so one Arrastra equals two Expanses, right? So it can refine as much as two of these ships in one go. But where does it leave it in terms of like the mole? Well, the mole doesn't refine. All right, so one Arrastra equals two Expanses in terms of like its refining capabilities. Interesting. Very interesting. Is the Arrastra able to refine Quantanium? If so, is it able to create its own fuel and use it? It can refine Quantanium as a resource, but has no way to feed it back into its fuel tanks. So Quantanium is purely generated as a commodity to sell. That's interesting. So if you were thinking about using the Arrastra as a ship to stay on long-term, deployments and be out there and mine and refine your own fuel, some to use and some to sell, it looks like you won't be able to do that. But with it having two separate, tanks to make orders, I don't see why it couldn't do that. Like one of them could be used as a feedback loop into its own systems, but hey, that's how they want to make it. It's how they're going to make it. How do the Arrastra's mining capabilities compare to ships like the Prospector, Mole, and the Orion? It sits between the Mole and the Orion, with larger lasers capable of cracking harder rocks at greater distances than the Mole. So it seems like the Arrastra is going to have more powerful lasers, meaning if you overcharge a rock, you won't be as close to it, so you run the risk of having less damage to your ship. So I don't know what the distance is on the Mole. If I know someone can probably comment that for me in the comments, or leave a comment for that and tell me how long the distance is for this one. I've only gone into the Mole a couple of times. I haven't really used it all that much. The last time I used the Mole was before they kind of nerfed Quantanium. But it seems like, and that makes sense, right? That this is a bigger ship. It has bigger lasers. It should be able to mine at a greater distance, making it more safe. Right, so that makes sense. Are the mining lasers on the Arrastra bespoke? What are the benefits of a size 3 mining laser? They are not bespoke and will have upgrade paths like other mining lasers in the game. Sizing wise, they simply provide a greater range of energy output by default. Okay, so it's going to have size 3, and I'm guessing these are size 2s maybe, and maybe these are size 1 mining lasers on the Expanse. I have to look at that, but it seems like the Arrastra is going to be a lot safer to mine with. I would expect also that because it's going to have better shields and things like that, and it's going to be able to do it from a greater distance. So that's good. Will it be possible to take material from from ore bags onto ships and refine it, such as the ones from the prospector. Yes, the Arrastra has 2 ports on it capable of taking ore bags from a prospector or a mole and refining them. Interesting. So this kind of opens up a player-driven economy to where if you see somebody out with a mole or a prospector, and they have maybe some things like they don't really care about, you can sell the raw ore to another player for a certain amount of money, and that's actually really, really good. So, or even if you see somebody in a mole, or you see somebody in a prospector, if you want to pirate their ore and refine it yourself, then you're going to have the ability to do that as well. I like the second option. Are any of the mining lasers able to be controlled by the pilot? No, they are all controlled via other dedicated stations. I expected this. There's a lot of people out there, I think, that want to really stick to the idea of just mining and doing everything themselves. Look, people solo reclaimers, people solo moles, people solo a lot of the bigger ships. But I really think that CIG is getting away from that. They really want you to have other players in your ships. Whether that's right now you get some friends, or in the future when they have the AI and NPC technology available. But I think for right now, that's the right way to go. Just pay a crew. It's not hard. I mean, my buddy got an Arrastra, and I can't wait to be on his crew, and mining and refining on his ship. So I'm ready for it. And I got another friend that got one too. So we got 2. I have 2 friends that have one. So I can't wait to be on their ships and doing this with them. So it's gonna be great. Does this ship have a VTOL mode for planetary mining? Yes, there are dedicated VTOLs built into the ship to allow it to hover above a planet's surface. That's actually really good to see that they have that on there already. They're thinking about that. Does the ship have a dedicated vehicle bay, or is the internal 64 SCU cargo bay used for this purpose? What is the largest vehicle that will be able to fit? The vehicle bay is in the center of the cargo area. However, the two coexist with cargo grids being available at the edges of the room. The central space is designed to hold 2 rock RDSs, or 2 Ursa-sized vehicles. Interesting. It's very interesting. So it actually has a lot of space for vehicles, but I also wonder. So the cargo grids are going to be at the edges of the room. So I would assume that those are going to be towards where you enter the skin of the ship. Well, I guess the cargo area is in the skin of the ship, but it's going to be more towards once you start getting into the other internal spaces of the ship. And the 64 SCU cargo bay. But did they say how much you're actually going to be able to put at the end of the rooms? Is it just going to be a 64 SCU, or is the entire cargo bay going to be a cargo grid? That doesn't really explain that, but I guess we'll know more in the future. I'm sure. Does the external ore storage use a standard SCU containers, unrefined ore bags, or something new? They use standard SCU containers to allow for a huge amount of interoperability. I'm fucking that up, guys. With other vehicles in the universe, for example, when offloading and transporting cargo. Okay. So one of the things I want to know is, could you just simply use, since they use the regular SCU boxes, can they make bigger boxes, for example, like the Reclaimer can? Am I making sense to people? Can you just use bigger SCU boxes? Makes sense. Makes sense to me. All right. Which seats can control the missiles on the Arrastra? The pilot seat has control over the missiles, which I fully expected. But one of the things I did want them to clarify, if I can pull it up real quick, I want them to clarify this. I want them to clarify the turrets. So I want them to clarify this a little bit, go over that, and what the armament's actually going to be, because I made a video about it during IAE. It looks like the information was wrong, but I don't really see anything else here that's going to be covering that, because we're almost at the bottom of the page. So I guess we're not going to get clarification on that until much later in the future, but I mean, I guess that's okay. Are there any other entry points on the Arrastra aside from the rear ramp? There is a large docking collar on the side of the ship, as well as a central crew elevator that goes to the ground. A central crew elevator. So this is a docking collar right here. Looks like it has 2 docking collars. And then it's probably going to be an elevator somewhere in the middle of the ship. I would assume somewhere in this area, because that just makes the most sense. If this is the cargo bay back here, I'm pretty sure the elevator is going to be somewhere in this area. So that's all right. What amenities are aboard the Arrastra? Crew quarter storage, weapon, armor racks, medical, etc. The Arrastra has a shared bunk area for the crew and a separate shared habitation area for them to relax and prepare food. There is no dedicated medical rooms aboard. There's an integrated weapon and suit storage facilities, but no dedicated armory. Okay, so that's the end of the Q&A. I really want them to go over the weapons. I really wanted clarification on that. I mean, I did have some people clarify it for me. I guess the clarification came from Spectrum, but it would have been nice for them to just put all that in here as well. But, you know, it is what it is. I think the Arrastra is going to be a fantastic ship. So the Arrastra is essentially going to be like having 2 expanses, even though the expanse is not yet in the game. And honestly, it's kind of like making the expanse kind of useless. I don't know how much this would cost in game. It seems like they are getting the ships that came out into games a lot quicker now. And the latest PTU, the A1 is able to be bought in game. Some of the Fear is being able to be bought in game. So a lot of these ships are going to be coming into the game soon after their release. So let me know what you guys think about the Arrastra. Is this something that you already picked up? Is this something that you still want to pick up? Are you going to try to CC your way up to an Arrastra over the next year? Are you just going to go for the Galaxy? Because, you know, the Galaxy can refine stuff, can mine and refine stuff too. So let me know what you guys think about the Arrastra down in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.